It is very rare to see a lifter appear on the international stage and put up lifts that make you think that he might be as good as some of the best lifters of all time. And yet, one of these guys is someone that we would have never imagined would be at this level a few years ago, and it's Abdo Younes. At the 2026 Asian Championships, Abdo Younes will put up a 182 kilo snatch and a 210 kilos clean and jerk. The snatch in particular is very, very impressive. In the entire history of the sport of weightlifting, only 4 other men have been able to put up this weight or more overhead while weighing 85 kilos or less. And most of them are some of the best of all time. Now, I want to go through not only Abdo's career because it's pretty short, but also through how impressive his lifts truly are. But first, let's talk a little bit about his competitions. So, his first 2 senior appearances were at the African Championships in 2024 and 2025. He competed there at 81 kilos both times, and surprisingly, between these 2 competitions, despite having a year in between and him being quite young still at the time, he did make tremendous progress. He did 337 in 2024 and 345 in 2025. But then he started posting some very, very big lifts in the lead up to the World Championships in Forte. We have seen a 175 kilo snatch, we have seen clean and jerks over 200 kilos in the new 79 kilo weight class. But still, it seemed a little bit crazy to think that Abdo Younes would become the next big thing, because he hadn't put up any big total and he had never even been to World Championships, so we had to wait, and in 2025 we will see him compete at the highest level for the first time. And sadly, it didn't go very well for him. He got called on a lot of press out, and you could see that the pressure was really getting to him. He was still like a very young lifter with a lot of pressure on his shoulder. Everyone had very high expectations from him, and that's normal. But along with some problems with his elbows, basically, he pressed out a lot of lifts. He ended up with only 162, 198, which was quite a lot under what he had shown in training. But still, that was a bronze medal at the World Championships for his first ever participation, which I would say is not so bad. Now, shortly after, he will have a redemption competition. He will show up at the Islamic Games, and there he will snatch 166 and clean and jerk 196. There he will set the snatch world record, which actually ended up standing basically forever because the 79 kilo weight class disappeared, and the total world record, which is pretty crazy. So of course, this wasn't as big of a competition, but he shown pretty immediately that he was able to put up big performances on a big stage, and that the world records were there for him to take. But things only really went crazy after that. So with the change of weight classes, the 79 kilo weight class was just not a thing anymore, and the next one, as we knew pretty fast, was going to be the 85s, which meant that Abdo had to take a decision dropping to 75 or going up to 85, and the obvious decision was to get up to 85 kilos. He had been competing at 81 kilos in the past, had to drop 2 kilos to go down, so going down 4 more kilos just didn't make much sense. And then his training lifts just starting to get crazier and crazier, but nothing that he ever did in training was as crazy as what he did at the African Championships this year. This was a very interesting competition, to say the least. So first of all, he opened very light for someone that was getting ready for a snatch over 180 kilos. He first did 165, which was pretty easy, and he then took a 10 kilos jump to 175, and he failed it. So at this point, it's pretty crazy that you would take another jump, especially to a world record, because had he failed, he would have ended with 165 in the snatch, despite attempting 182. But he did it either way. He jumped up to 182, and he made it. And it's pretty hard to really imagine how big of a lift it is. So of course he was competing in the 88 kilo weight class, because the 85 kilo weight class wasn't a thing yet, but he competed at right around 84 kilos of body weight, which means that it is very fair to compare him to the 85 kilo weight class, which existed for quite a while, right around 20 years. And in the 85 kilo weight class, only one man ever snatched over 182 kilos, and it's Andrei Rybakov. And the thing that you need to know about Andrei Rybakov is that he's not only a good snatcher, he's one of the best snatchers ever, across all weight classes. So just to give you a little idea of who Andrei Rybakov is, as a junior lifter, he breaks the senior world record in the snatch with 182.5 kilos. No senior 85 kilos ever snatched this. And he then brought the record all the way up to 187 kilos, which was 1 kilo under the snatch world record of the weight class above him. That is how good he was. Now, the thing with him is that he wasn't very good in the clean and jerk. His best ever clean and jerk in competition is 209, and because of this, he wasn't quite as successful as you would expect him to be. But my point is that it's a guy like this. It's one of the best snatchers of all time that it would take to beat Abdo Younes in the snatch. And then in the clean and jerk, he did 200 kilos for his opener, which was a bigger lift than he had ever done in his life in competition. And then he jumped to 210 kilos, and that is a little bit of a controversial one, because I don't think that's a good lift. I'll put it on the screen right now. Just look at the lockout, look at if he stabilized it. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I don't think that's a good lift. But it doesn't matter, because it was white lighted, and so it is an official lift. He officially clean and jerked 210 kilos, and so that put him at 392 kilos in the clean and jerk while being under 85 kilos of body weight. And that is as good as the Piros Dimas, the Tian Tao, the Kianush Rosami of this world has ever been. And this is in his first ever competition as an 85 kilo lifter, basically. And since then, he has been posting stuff that is truly outrageous. So the most impressive one that I could think about is his 190 kilo block snatch. And that is truly a big one. And it's very impressive. There is only a few people that have been able to do a lift like this in the past. And I just wanted to go through them a little bit quickly to just kind of give you an idea of what 190 kilos at this body weight represent. The first one is from the floor at 85.7 kilos. Yurik Vardanian, the third best weightlifter of all time by body weight, he did 190 in 1981. It was the 90 kilo world record while being 5 kilos underweight. That is one of the best snatches of all time. Then we got, of course, Rybakov, who did 187, but who also did 191 in a national competition, which is just as impressive. Of course, he was probably a bit overweight and probably closer to the 88, 89, 90 kilo range. These are from the floor, and then we have another guy from China who actually never did anything too big on a competition platform. It's Lu Delin. As an 81 kilo lifter, he also block snatched 190 kilos. And as an 85 kilo lifter, the final one that I would mention is Artem Okulov, who did 190 kilos for hang snatch. So these are all of the people in the history of weightlifting that have done a lift at least a little bit similar to the 190 of Abdo. So if we're asking ourselves, is it a good lift? It is one of the best lifts ever, basically. Now, he has put up plenty of other big lifts, plenty of 190 to 200 kilo clean and jerks, plenty of 160 plus snatches, power snatches, 170 snatches. There is so many, and I just cannot mention all of them. Notably, there is a 180 snatch in training from before the African Championships that is pretty impressive and pretty easy. But yeah, so that's the thing. Abdo is already, at this point, having competed once as an 85 kilo lifter-ish, he is the best snatcher of the decade. Of course, if you are technical about it, it is still Lasha. He did 225 in 2021, but I would be more tempted to count this as a lift from the 2010s than the 2020s. It's a little bit on the fence. Of course, if you want to be very technical about it, Lasha is the best snatcher of the decade. But I would say that Abdo is at least by far the best snatcher in activity currently. But the crazy thing is that he might not even win the World Championships, because in the 85 kilos there will be another guy that is so good, and it's Jason Lopez. He recently did 182 also as an 88, so a little bit heavier than Abdo, and he clean and jerked 204, but he also attempted and almost made 218 in the clean and jerk. He failed the jerk behind, but that would have been a 400 kilo total as a guy that will compete at 85 kilos. So I won't go for too long about Jason Lopez because he's not the topic of this video, but let me know in comment if you'd like me to talk about him a little bit more, and make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the video of tomorrow.